Hello everyone, and welcome back to Zielonka. This is episode 8 of the premium expansion playthrough that we're doing here on the channel. Last episode, we started to till up these two fields. We plowed them together. We've got 49 and 48. 49 had parsnips, and 48 had our wheat that we harvested. We plowed them all into one big field. We also harvested the carrots here on field 52, and in today's episode, we are going to finish tilling these up to get them planted. And then we will be plowing all 5 of these fields into one big field, just plowing through the dirt paths there, and potentially getting those planted as well. We did also buy this new Kloss Axion 940. Won't have the twin wheels on it permanently, just for while we're plowing, because this plow is quite large. But yeah, we're going to get right to it, plowing all these fields together. And I do need to have a think on kind of how I want to tackle it, because, as I'm sure you can imagine, these are quite large. The fields, they're not huge, but altogether it'll be quite big. I don't want to make any mistakes, really. I don't want it to look ugly when we combine all of them together, which could be rather difficult. I'm probably going to do a couple of passes along the outsides here. And as you can see, there is plenty of room here after the edge of the fields to go into the roads, so I could plow it up further that way. I don't think I'm going to, for the simple reason of the vegetables. I'm not doing vegetables all the time, but the vegetable crops that we do, the equipment that it uses, they take quite a while to turn around, so we're going to want something that can do... We're going to want enough space to turn around, is what I'm trying to say. So let's drop these down. Turned on create fields. We do have the Pack-O-Mat system, so it's going to kind of smooth things out and make them look nice and pretty. We're just going to try to keep it pretty straight along this edge here. Again, just so it looks nice. There is a little bit of carrots here that I'm going to have to plow through, unfortunately. Would have been like a couple liters, so nothing super expensive that we're losing. Okay, that's about where we want it to be. Let's pick up the plow and whip it around to do this kind of outline. I don't want to... I don't know, when you run these plows, I wouldn't turn around and go up that way, because you want the right side of the tractor, where the plow is closest to the tractor, you want that to be your kind of lead. So, if that makes any sense at all, that's just kind of what I'm trying to do here. Try to keep the plow, try to kind of act like I'm using it, not roleplay, but try to keep it a little bit realistic, because I can. It's looking pretty good, the smoothed soil with the Pack-O-Mat system. It's a pretty neat system. Oops, I didn't keep that perfectly straight. That's okay. It probably would have been easier if I didn't have the Pack-O-Mat system on it, but I wanted it, so that's what I went with. Just gonna plow straight through. Eventually I will plow all of the fields, so that it's all just one big plowed area, because you can see there's a lot of different textures on it, and it would look kind of silly planting it like that. So that's just kind of what I'm going to do with that. Let's see if we can... This side of the field is pretty steep elevation. I hope there's no problems with the plow. I don't think there will be, but you never know for sure. And again, we're going to try and keep it pretty straight with the edges of the field, because they are angled and they're not exactly the same angle. It's no big deal. The plowing is not necessary at all. I just want to do it to keep it all looking pretty similar, and yeah, I think it'll look quite nice. Certainly not the easiest thing to do with this type of plow. I mean, what I would normally do if I wasn't wanting to be kind of close to realistic, I would normally just use, let's see if I even got it on this playthrough. Yeah, this thing, because it's super easy, and you can go like 11 miles an hour with it. You just tack it right on the back of your tractor and go, and it works great. But for the purposes of what I'm doing, I wanted something a little bit different. I'm going to turn off create fields just so we can plow up this whole edge of the field. There's a nice cornfield there. It's pretty big too. I've got the money for it. I could probably buy that, but as I said last episode, I'm not looking to aggressively expand. I'm just going to use the land that I have because I've already bought like 5 new fields since what we started out with. So I don't want to go too crazy buying new land until we've pretty well developed what we've got now. We have the soup factory, and it's got a lot of parsnips and beets, red beets and carrots. We're making red beets soup, carrot soup, and parsnip soup, and then once we make a fair bit of that, I'm going to switch it, and we're going to make triple soup, which is basically just red beets, carrots, and parsnips all in one thing of soup. That way we can make all the productions on that factory in like the first 10 episodes, which I think would be pretty cool. Then we can switch things up and maybe go with the preserved food factory or something different. I'm not sure exactly what we want to go with, but it'll be something new, hopefully. Okay. So let's see. This is the last pass, isn't it? On the way back. This is rather difficult to get this plow turned around. It's super wide, and as you can see it, like, I'm going to turn as narrow as I can without hitting the plow. Obviously, if you turn the other direction, it would be a lot easier, but this is crazy how big of a turning radius you'd need. That's basically this entire field's width, so, and I didn't even get it turned around either, so. Obviously, turning this way, you can go a lot narrower, a lot tighter turn, so that's probably what I would go for when we actually get around to plowing all these things up. And as I said, pretty soon we'll take the twins off of this. I don't think it's the most realistic to the area. Again, not trying to be hyper realistic or anything. I don't know, I don't want to be insanely off with the equipment I'm using and stuff. So we'll take the twin wheels off and we'll just go for some wide tires with some weights on it, which I've already paid for. So whenever I need the twins for some big cultivator or big plow like we're doing now, can easily just chuck those on for no extra cost. And that'll be quite good. Alright, just about to the end of this first pass. I'm going to do another pass and then we can actually start going up and down on the field. And I think the way I'm going to do it is the opposite of what I'm doing right now. So we'll be going up and down this way instead of this way that I'm facing right now, if that makes any sense at all. And then if there's any bits left over, because this is an angled plow, so this little spot here is like almost impossible to hit So we'll just have the disc tiller come through and get everything that I missed, just so we can be absolutely sure we got everything and we can plant it with whatever we're planting. Whoopsies. Oops. I'm gonna have to fold this thing up. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get out of the way. And I don't know why I tried to turn around there, because I still have to go back this way. I do that a lot. Just don't think and just do. Right, so I'll get to work getting these 2 headlands done, and then we can start on the bulk of the field. I got the headlands done, the end rows, whatever you want to call them. So now we're going to work our way up and down the field in order to get the whole thing done. A little bit ugly in the corners, but it will do just fine. Again, we'll come back through with the disc ripper and make everything look uniform. It might have a different texture, but it'll just be in little splotches instead of what it would be, which is a cultivated field here, a harvested red beet field there, carrots up there, sorghum and potatoes. Like, that's 5 different field types. That would have looked really bad, so this will be much better. And the Pack-O-Mat system will give it this nice smooth finish texture instead of this weird rough plowed texture. The only problem is I can only go up on the right side of the fields, and I can only go down on the left side, so it'll look a little silly on the time-lapse that we're going to do. But I hope you guys do enjoy it nonetheless. Let's get into it. with all that, the field is very, very nearly done. 5 fields all turned into one big field. Nicely smoothed and plowed up, all uniform. Still a little bit of like little strips at the end of the fields. We're going to have to come through with the disc tiller to get all that done. And just because I want it to all look uniform, and of course there is a little bit of discrepancies on the corners because this is an angled plow, and so the corners are very difficult. I did find a pretty good system. I've got my cruise set to 15 miles an hour, which is a pretty good, easily controllable speed for this thing. So once I put the plow in, it drops down to the max speed for the plow, which is 8 miles an hour. That's probably a little fast. Maybe like 4 or 5 miles an hour would be a better speed to be working at. It works fine. I mean, Farming Simulator does that. They've just got set max working speeds instead of, whatever would be realistic. Right, once I pull the plow out of the ground, speeds up. Instead of going all the way up to 32 miles an hour, it just goes to like 15 miles an hour, which is, again, nice and controllable. So I can turn around easy and get things lined up. And put the plow in the ground and kind of let it straighten itself out. And I try to keep the right tires kind of on the edge of the plowed stuff, because the plow does stick out a tiny bit past the right tires. If I line up with them, you can see the plow sticks out a little bit further. And then of course the Pacomat system is able to reach plenty of it. But since it's an angled plow, it does leave these little hash marks the whole way across the field, so pretty cool. Got a nice pattern that's real consistent throughout the whole thing. But yeah, field's done. So I can go ahead and return the plow, I think. I'll probably just fold it up for now. I won't return it quite yet. I want to just make sure. So here's the carrots down there. And we'll have to touch up the potatoes up there in that corner. Maybe we better do that. Let's get this thing to the farmyard, and then I'll use the Fiat over there in the other fields just to kind of tidy everything else up. And when we return the plow, we can return our Kloss, our new tractor here, we can return it to its kind of regular state that it'll be at, which is wide tires instead of twin wheels. That'll be nice. As you can see, this is the plowed texture. This is kind of the smooth texture. I don't know what they call it. I suppose I can look. So they call that seed bed. Okay. So, yeah. We want to get the whole thing to seed bed. This one doesn't matter as much because I'm going to be ridging the whole field. So it'll all be that consistent ridged texture throughout those fields because they're going to get some vegetables, and I don't know what vegetables I want to put on them. Potentially carrots or red beets probably. I don't want to do parsnips just because those took forever. So basically what I'm just going to do is go straight up and down until we've got these all smoothed out, and while I'm doing that I can also be able to kind of look over the entire field to make sure there's nothing that I missed that I have to come back for. Now that that's done, the fields are ready to be planted. All 5 of these will get seeded up with something, and then we'll also plant some vegetables up on the 2 fields up there, 48 and 49. First order of business, though, we're going to drop off the disc tiller behind our shed where it lives. Then we're going to return the plow because there weren't any areas missing. Whoops, I just hit my trailer. There weren't any areas missing that the plow needed to get, so we can return that no problem. And we also need to... We don't have a seeder, so we're going to have to rent that. We don't have a... What's it called? A hiller? Oops. Ridger. Yep. We need a ridger, so I'll rent that $3,000, and we'll also rent the vegetable planter. And that's what the Fiat's going to do. The Fiat is going to be planting the vegetables while the Kloss will be ridging. Sorry, couldn't find the word. Just make sure no one's coming, because this is a big tractor. It would eat any one of those cars on the road. And I think I am going to go with buy a weight as well for the Kloss, because it is big, but it is not like huge to where it doesn't need a weight. So let's get a 900 kilogram, 1100. What's the biggest one they make? 1800. Yeah, I think that's good. And it can go up to a 3400. Let's make it 2.2 tons. That's a good amount. We can always take it back here to the store. I tried to jump over the plow and I couldn't. Can always take it back to the store and add a couple of plates onto the weight if we want to. Let's just get the wide tires and weights on. There we go. A little bit more manageable size now. It's not absolutely huge, and it can turn tighter because it doesn't have those duals on. So that is fantastic. I don't know why I'm driving it reverse. I think I did that with the Fiat a few episodes ago too. I just drove all the way to the store in reverse for some reason. That might be a little big for the weight. I don't know. I'll see how the tractor moves. I'll pick up the ridger and see if it kind of settles back. And then I'll drop the weight and see if it kind of pushes forward. Okay, wow, so it is a pretty decent size, I think, because I know this ridger is heavy. I didn't think it was quite that heavy, but the tractor still seems to handle okay, even with the... Oh, come on. I hate how they stop if you get too close to them, because like on the road, if you're at a stop sign and a car is like going by, you don't wait till they're completely past you before you start your acceleration. You start accelerating when they're still right in front of you, but you know that you're not going to hit them. They know you're not going to hit them because they're going a lot faster than you can accelerate, so you wouldn't hit them. But whatever AI they use for farming simulators traffic is not quite that smart, so it's not a big deal. It's just a little silly. Okay, let's think here. I am gonna use that system that I thought about, where, well, hold on a minute. No, we'll just fire it up and do it. I was thinking about putting those little lanes in the field where I don't ridge and I don't plant. It just, there's like just empty field like this, so that way I can drive through, because the vegetable harvesters, they can only harvest on the one side, usually the right side, so you have to be, the crop has to be on your right, which means you have to be on the left side of the crop, and in order for that to be the case, when you turn around, you have to go to all the way to the other end of the field. So if I have like 3 little strips in the field where I don't plant anything that I can drive on so that I'm not crushing my crops, it sort of creates these lands that I can harvest on, and that's what I wanted to do. But I think for this field I'm going to use we're going to get the big self-propelled harvester. It's like $637,500. Super expensive. I'm not buying it. I will lease it. We may, probably, hopefully will eventually buy it, which is a little scary to say, but I think that's not too far off, like to where it would take me 100 episodes to get there. I mean, we were just at $400,000 2 episodes ago when I bought this tractor. So we can definitely make the money to get there, especially now that we've expanded and we're kind of got 2 big fields instead of 7 smaller fields that we have to each look at individually. Okay, there's the first turnaround. Could probably have a worker doing this. But I think I would rather have a worker on the planting. I don't know, actually. I'm not sure what I'd prefer. The ridging is fun. The planting is fun too. Probably just because it's new. I'm sure all this will fade in the excitement and it won't be quite as enjoyable. But for now, it's pretty good. And then my plan for the other fields is to get this big Amazon seeder. Whoops. This one. The Citan. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But that's what we're going to go with. And we're going to seed all that up. And I'm planning on doing oats. Oats, but no straw swath. I don't want to pick up bales at the moment. But that is where I'm going to end the episode for today. Next episode is when we will finish ridging this field. We'll plant this field with carrots or red beets. And then the other field will get seeded up with oats or potentially like, I don't know, maybe some sorghum, maybe some barley instead. One of those 3, probably just whatever I'm feeling at the moment. That's what we'll be doing next episode, as well as potentially moving forward and spraying off the weeds that grow on there and spreading fertilizer on them, because they will both have 1 application of fertilizer. Ridging gives vegetables their first application, and the seeder that I want to use will also, it carries fertilizer, so it'll do that as well as plant. So then when they'll need another stage of fertilizer, probably after the first month of growth, just because it's the easiest to see the floor. But that'll all be next episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. I'll see you next time. Peace.